Yeah, I think the biggest surprise is the numbers. So I'll give you an example. So like if you take like your typical, residential rental property, I think, folks would consider what's a good cash flow would be, something a couple $100 a month, right? On a property that's maybe, 200,000, 300,000, let's say. Um, and so with this, it's a little different, um, with these business units, you know, based on like the costs and whatnot, we're going to charge about 2,500 bucks a month for each of these units, which is pretty low, and it's pretty great, especially for um, folks who are maybe newer in their business looking for a space for the business. So, and that side of things, and it still cash flows really well.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil. Today I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chatting with, Jason Yanes, who is an investor and now is working in light industrial development. So excited to have you here today, Jason.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from how you're working in this new niche of the industrial development. So let's dive in. First off, for those not yet familiar with you and your work, can you share what your main focus is?
Yeah. So the main focus now is light industrial real estate development, and specifically development within airports. And so the idea is to develop business units in or around airports. And if you look at existing airports, you'll see a lot of industrial and like manufacturing type of buildings around that area. So developing those buildings, as well as hangars for aircrafts and just general storage units. So those are the three main things being built within the airport fence line or around it.
Cool. And what does that look like as far as your role? Like, what are the steps that you take to get there?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things involved in that. So I'd say that the biggest thing is first just having a solid team to, you know, do whatever's necessary to get this project up and running. Um, so for me, my main goal or my main objective with this is finding the capital, whether that's the bank financing, private investors. It's conversing with the different airports to determine, okay, is this a viable airport? Is there space? Does it make sense to kind of do something like this at this airport? Um, and then my partner, he's a numbers guy, so he's really good at figuring out, all right, how much is this going to cost? He's got the relationship with our builders and our suppliers, so he kind of gets all those numbers. So we can figure out, okay, like how much we'll need to finance this project, what are the expected returns, this and that. And then once we kind of get that stuff, rolling, then we kind of both work on, okay, who are we gonna pull in as tenants in terms of businesses that would need those specific units and leasing and things of that nature. So it's kind of a dual effort there.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And we kind of just play into, what each of our strengths are to get this, these projects done.
Cool. And what markets are you doing this in?
Yeah, mostly Pennsylvania. So I'm located in Philadelphia. So looking at the different, smaller regional airports in this area, along the I-95, highway. So things like up in Lehigh Valley. We even have one planned for somewhere out more west into Pittsburgh. But primarily right now in the Pennsylvania area.
Awesome. And yeah, how did you even hear about this niche or come into it?
Yeah, so that very interesting story there. So, um, been in real estate for about 6 or 7 years, and most of it was more in the residential space. So started out like wholesaling, and then had a couple of flips, kept a couple of rentals, the Burr method, even had an Airbnb. So I kind of started out in that avenue, and then had some some hiccups, as I'm sure most people do, with some projects going completely sideways, or having multiple evictions and whatnots. Um, and so I kind of took a pause from that and was trying to think of, okay, what are some different, avenues that I can get into real estate? Like, what other things haven't I tried? Just to see maybe there's something that's out there that's better for me, or maybe, maybe I'll have better luck. And so, outside of real estate, I'm a business consultant, right? And so, funny enough, I had just joined this other firm, and so basically we were just helping out small businesses, just improve and just be better in general. And one of my clients, one of their needs was they needed some land. So then I was kind of still using some of that real estate background into helping out this client. So essentially what we did was um, find someone with some land and actually subdivided that for this client to purchase, because there was nothing on the market, there was nothing available. And then we had another client we had to build a building for. They basically were a dairy tank manufacturer. They just needed a building being built. So we kind of had all the different components already laid out. So we had our different methods for getting land. We had these these metal buildings that we were able to fabricate or construct for different clients. And so then me and a partner were talking, and we kind of had this idea like, okay, we've been doing this for clients. What if we, do this as our own project? And since my real estate background, I'm like, this is something I would definitely like to pursue. So we kind of just thought about it, and we're trying to figure out like what different avenues we could do, because in certain areas there's a lot of industrial parks, if you will, where there's manufacturing plants and buildings for contractors, auto body shops, things like that. But then we ultimately landed on doing those within airports, and that's my partner. He flies planes, so he just knows that industry really well. And the reason why we also wanted to do that was because typically, real estate around airports is a little bit cheaper just because of the noise. So we thought, okay, maybe that would be a good way to source some land that's a little bit cheaper. Just because in this area the vacant land is pretty expensive, so it's really tough to find uh, a lot that you can really build on, and then do something that's not going to be super high luxury. you know so that's kind of how we landed in this specific niche, light industrial development at airports.
Wow, yeah, interesting. Definitely have never had a conversation about that.
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, yeah.
What have been some of the biggest challenges with it?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenges, maybe in the beginning was just even getting a hold of, the right folks. It's a lot of phone tag and just chasing to figure out, all right, who's the right person to, talk about, whether it's selling land, whether it's doing a ground lease at the airports, and then with the builders and different, lots and whatnot. So first and foremost, just trying to get a hold of the right people. But now we kind of had that stuff figured out. But now the main challenge is um, just finding more capital partners, private money investors. Since we have a couple of these in the works, we have, the bank financing for the majority of the project lined up. But then it's just that last little bit that we're looking for some private capital. That's tough just because, we got multiple going on. So, uh, trying to find money is our biggest challenge for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel have been some of the main keys that have made the biggest difference in allowing your business to be able to grow and run smoothly?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest, one of the biggest things is I'm transitioning from kind of doing everything, myself to forming a team that can kind of work together and, you know, do each part and better than just one person can do. Because I could definitely say that, when I was doing more of the residential stuff, I was doing everything on my own, everything, and I'm sure a lot of other investors are that way as well. They handle, okay, let's find a deal, let's do the quick math to see how it'll work. Let's do the GC, the project management to manage the contractors for any renovations. Let's do the financing. Let's, find our tenants, kind of do everything. Um, and it's great. A lot of folks can do that. But if you want to, I guess scale or do bigger projects, it's much harder to do everything on your own. You're not going to know everything, and definitely need to play into your strengths and form a team that can work together really well, and that each person can kind of bring something to the table to make the team succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you working with like a team and partners? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I just have one main partner, and so me and him are kind of the forefront of this project, and then we have you know, our other secondary partners like our builders, our financing guys, bank people, folks that are in the aviation industry. So we have other, I would say, secondary partners that are, assisting with kind of getting this project up and running. But from the actual, project, it's just me and my one partner.
Awesome. What are you most focused on solving or scaling to next within the business?
Yeah, so I have a goal for at least the next 2 years to at least get four of these, built out. Um, and so you know, just finding the correct investors for these buildings, and then just being able to manage the construction and as well as getting them leased out and whatnot. Um, yeah, hoping to get four of these built out, and within four of these projects, there's going to be essentially probably about 40 or so different business units and probably around the same number of storage units, and then two to three airplane hangars as well. So um, just a wide mix of units and uses. So that's kind of the goal.
Awesome. Are you still investing in other types of real estate?
I took a pause from the residential, so I still have a few properties that I'm just still managing.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
But I haven't done anything new within the residential space. Just been solely focused on this light industrial side of things.
And how has that pivot been?
Very interesting. It's been a bit of a learning curve, you know. Um, some of the, I guess, concepts are the same with real estate. It's, you got to buy some land or buy a building and you know, cash flow and whatnot and financing. So some of those, terms and whatnot is still similar, but it's a whole different game because it's going from having rentals and leasing those out to regular folks to move in and live in to now building these units and renting them out to businesses. And, now you kind of have to vet businesses a different way that you would, vet a regular person when you do like the credit check, background checks, but business a little bit different. So it's just kind of been a learning curve, just learning the new ways of working, new things that need to be considered to make sure these projects are successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And how are you like finding these projects? Like, how does the lead generation work?
Yeah, so the lead generation is it's pretty simple actually. So, and I know that's usually the toughest part, finding the deal. But for this one, it's actually not that tough because since we're focusing on the airports, there's actually a lot more airports out there than most people think there are. There was certainly more than I thought there were. Because I only when I thought about airports, I mostly thought about your bigger international ones like the one in JFK, Philadelphia, DC, those large airports. But there's a lot of smaller regional airports, um, and so it gave us at least a good starting point to look at. Okay, we're starting all these airports, so let's look around there. And within and around the airports, there's actually um, usually a lot of land that they aren't using. So for an airport, you know, their main goal is to get planes to fly in and land and take off and sell jet fuel. That's essentially like how they make their money and get their funding. So real estate's not their main focus. So if you look at a lot of airports, you'll see like on the borders of the airports, there'll be other sort of businesses, maybe aviation related, maybe just industrial related, but there's always a lot of extra room and space for other businesses. So um, it's essentially just reaching out to these airports, seeing what they have available, and then seeing what we can make work. So yeah, that part has not been the difficult part whatsoever, which is very unlike the residential side of things, what I'm used to.
Totally. What do you think has been the biggest surprise in this niche for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise is the numbers. So I'll give you an example. So like if you take like your typical residential rental property, I think folks would consider what's a good cash flow would be something a couple $100 a month, right? On a property that's maybe 200,000, 300,000, let's say. Um, and so with this, it's a little different, um, with these business units, you know, based on like the costs and whatnot, we're going to charge about 2,500 bucks a month for each of these units, which is pretty low, and it's pretty great, especially for um, folks who are maybe newer in their business looking for a space for their business. So and that side of things, and it still cash flows really well. And then with the aircraft hangars, I didn't realize how much folks, pay for rent, to store their planes and jets. It's it's quite a lot. Like if, for example, one of the aircraft carriers that we're or aircraft hangars rather that we're planning would be a 10 aircraft um, hangar, so about 10 planes would fit in there. And if someone had a Gulfstream G700, if you're familiar with jets, it's a pretty big one. It's about 100, a little bit over 100 feet long. And just for that jet itself, they typically pay about almost $7,000 a month just to store that thing. So, if you could imagine if an aircraft hangar had, let's say, five of those and five smaller others, those numbers are pretty can be pretty astronomical in terms of how much it costs to kind of build that and maintain that building. So I think like the just seeing like the cash flow potentials, especially since there's just a wide variety of uses for these buildings, that was kind of the biggest surprise. Pleasant surprise, I'll add.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there like any sort of mentorship or education you've done on this, or you're just figuring it out as you go?
Yeah, definitely no mentorship for education. It's kind of figuring it out, but also like my partner, since he has some background in aviation, like he has his license, can fly planes. He just kind of knows that industry a bit. So we kind of just pull from our just our previous experiences, like his airline experience and my previous real estate experience, and kind of just spitballing, figure things out as we go.
Yeah, amazing. That's a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals for where you want this business to head to?
Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit with this. I mean, there's so many airports out there, but yeah, I mean, I mean, if I can get 100 units, within the next 5 years, I think is doable. But then that's a pretty steep goal I want to set for myself to see if we can get these, you know, nationwide, hopefully.
Amazing. That's exciting. Cool. So before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, I have a couple, so it's a little interesting because I have my Instagram page and my website for my residential side of things, and that's just stallinacquisitions.com, and that has all my social media links and whatnot, contact information in that site. And then for this light industrial development, so the firm that we're kind of under is called Approach Advisors. So approachadvisors.com is the way you can contact me. And then we're essentially we're calling these project airports, we're calling them Takeoff Business Park. Um, but still working on the website and the socials for that, so that stuff's not ready quite yet. But yeah, the main two areas to find me would be StallionAcquisitions.com, or ApproachAdvisors.com.
Perfect. Well, appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And for the listeners tuning in, if you got value, make sure you've subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Jason who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.